Good morning, everyone. I'm in the fitness center on the Wonder. As you can see, it's set up different than the one on the Dream. Still the same amount of equipment. Those are weird. Free weights, weight machines, mats, lots of treadmills, steppers. It's changed a little bit since I was here last time. They got new machines, but that's okay. I figured I'd take it because there's not too many people in here this morning. I did not work out in here this morning. I went out to the deck for a run, but figured since it was early, to show you what it looks like. Also, right here, there's cold water, lemon water, cold pies, and some fruit. whole lot from our first sea day. We didn't really do a whole lot,
No,
though.
Relaxed.
We hung out. Kids went to open house. Bella really enjoyed going down the Slinky Dog slide.
Yep.
She can't wait till she's old enough to go to the club.
Be just like when Christian turned 3 and he was able to go, and he spent most of his time in Andy's room. Every time we went to go pick him up or something, the cast member wouldn't really have to tell us where he was. It was always, oh, look, he's in Andy's room.
Now it's pretty much he's in the Marvel room playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
that's that. So we hung out. The kids enjoyed a Mickey bar in the room. Got pretty messy eating Mickey bar.
Yeah, they always do, though.
Not quite as messy as Bella the night before at dinner, though. And then we got them ready to go to the club to eat dinner. Bella went to the nursery and Christian went to the Oceaneer Club to hang out while we went to our fancy adult dinner at Palo.
Definitely highly recommend Palo.
We'll probably end up doing a video just about Palo at some point, you know, more details about it. On this particular night, though, we went and enjoyed a delicious meal with great views. Every time we've eaten at Palo, we've been by the window.
Yeah, because we've eaten there 3 times, this time included. Once for brunch and now twice for dinner.
Yeah.
And we've always been by the window, right around the same area, too.
So Palo is great. It is an extra charge, $40 per person, but it's so worth it.
Definitely.
Where else are you going to get this kind of meal for that amount of money? And, you know, we go out, if we went out to a nice restaurant, just the 2 of us here, it would easily be that much or more, with less food and probably less quality of service. The main dining room servers are amazing, and you get to know them over the course of the cruise, but you're only with your server at Palo for an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, and they make it so that you really feel welcome. They tell you, you know, what they recommend about other guests, what they've thought of dishes, and, you know, a little bit about where they're from as well.
Yeah.
Our server, Paul, whose real name was Pavel, I think he said.
Yeah.
He, you know, he told us about where he was from. We told him a little bit about Texas and our drive to Florida and then back to Louisiana. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think every time we've been to Palo, even though it seems like it's really hard to get reservations there, the dining room hasn't, because we like to have dinner a little bit earlier than most people, but the dining room is usually never that packed, to the point where our server, no matter when we've been there, has almost always been dedicated to us because there's no one else in their section.
Yeah, he had us and then a table behind me and behind you, and that was about it.
Yeah.
We had the first reservation time. It was 6:00. We were waiting outside for it to open with 2 or 3 other couples.
Yeah.
When it first opened. And we were seated and we got started. Our server let us know that since the last time we had been there, things had changed a little bit. But the last time we were there was 2017, so you expect things to change. Now the meal starts out with an amuse-bouche, which is French, not Italian. But it's a one bite little thing, which will show you pictures of all of the amazing food. It's a potato gnocchi.
Oh man.
It's fluffy. It's soft. It's got some cheese with it.
And it was a mushroom.
Yeah.
Like reduction at the bottom. It was really good. It added a really good earthy note to the saltiness of the Parmesan that was on top, paired with the deliciousness of just the gnocchi itself.
Yeah, it's a great little starter.
I could have eaten a whole plate of those though.
We like gnocchi. So.
It's true.
Next, you're brought some bread.
there's a couple of different kinds of bread. So there's the crunchy, thin breadsticks you think of like at a, not like a chain Italian restaurant, but like if you go to a fancier Italian restaurant. They're nice, they're crisp, kind of pretzel-y maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
And then they have these Parmesan cheese crisps. And what they do is they have big, like full things of Parmesan cheese that they use at brunch at Palo. And then when they get down to the end and they can't really use it for anything except to make soups, they also use the rind to make these Parmesan cheese crisps. They're kind of like crackery.
Yeah.
But they've got a really good cheese flavor.
Yeah,
So if you like cheese, especially Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, it's got that nice salty note like Parmesan normally has.
Yeah. And my favorite of the breads was the rosemary flatbread.
Yeah.
It's got a nice rosemary flavor to it. It's got a kind of pizza texture to it.
Yeah, kind of like a non kind of feel to it, but it was definitely really good.
Sorry, I like bread. Moving on to the appetizers. Ooh, actually, no. So, if you've dined at Palo before, but it's been a while, you might be like, what happened to the antipasti? So, it still exists, but it is no longer automatically brought to your table. You can order it as an appetizer as if you would like, and you can order another appetizer as well. We decided that we wanted to have room for, more.
Mostly for the souffle. We wanted to make sure we had room for the souffle.
So we opted to not get the antipasti, and I think it was a good choice.
Yeah.
When we've had it, it's been delicious, but
we were pushing the limits with how much food we could eat at that point.
So appetizers. You want to do yours first?
Sure. I had the chipin soup. It's a seafood soup. It came with mussels, shrimp, calamari, red snapper, and monkfish. Now, all of that was in a garlic, basil, and red wine and tomato broth. And that was served with a nice big hunk of baguette that was cut on the bias, and it had garlic and looks like parsley on the top. Now, it was absolutely delicious.
Good for soaking up.
Yeah, it was really good for soaking up the broth. All of the seafood was cooked to perfection. It was absolutely delicious. I pulled all of the shellfish out of their shells and just kind of fished around. The snapper was amazing. I've never had monkfish before, but it was definitely really good. And then paired with the French bread, again soaking up all of that sauce was amazing. Never had a soup like it before.
And I went with a fried option. I got the calamari. So it's not like calamari you'd get pretty much anywhere else. No. It's not rubbery or anything because they soak it in buttermilk for, I think he said like a day.
At least a day, maybe two.
Before they bread and fry it. So the shrimp and the calamari are super tender, and the outside breading is crispy and salty and yum. And it comes with two sauces. There is a lemon garlic mayonnaise, which I preferred out of the two.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's got some slight tang to it, but it pairs really well with the seafood. And then it also comes with a marinara. The marinara is good, but I think that the garlic mayonnaise was the best. I alternated. One bite I would do with one sauce, the next bite I'd do with the other sauce.
Yeah, and like you guys see up here, the shrimp are absolutely massive.
It's big shrimp.
Yeah.
Following the appetizer, you are brought a palate cleanser to get the seafood and tomato and whatever else you've had taste out of your mouth. It's a lemon sorbet with a single sweet little blueberry, and it really takes all the taste of whatever you had for your appetizer out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Think Princess Diaries. She didn't know it was frozen. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely eat small bites of that. But
Yes.
the lemon is just, it's really good. It really is.
It's not too lemony either.
Yeah, it's simple, but like Mary said, it's effective at cleansing your palate of all the rich or the saucy tomato sauce and the fried stuff before you get onto your main entrees.
I could also eat like a bowl of that for dessert.
Not in big scoops though.
No, not at all. And then we got to the entrees. I was looking forward to this because my favorite dish of any Disney Cruise Line food is at Palo for dinner. So,
Yep.
we'll start with yours though.
So I got the grilled prime beef tenderloin, and that came with a pancetta potato, sautéed spinach, and wine sauce. As well, well, it came with wine
You
sauce
could get
or
either
the gorgonzola.
Or both.
I don't personally like gorgonzola. I'm not a big blue cheese fan. However,
Sauce was good.
I love that sauce. I actually preferred the gorgonzola sauce over the red wine sauce.
It was good sauce.
It was absolutely
It wasn't
delicious.
like funky like blue cheese.
No.
It was more of a cream sauce flavor.
It was absolutely delicious. The tenderloin was,
Tender.
yes, it was tender. It was absolutely delicious. It melted in your mouth, and then pairing that with the gorgonzola and the red wine sauce, I was literally about to just grab some bread and start scraping the plate to get all of that sauce up. It was absolutely top probably 5 steaks that I've had. Mind you, all 5 of my top 5 are at some kind of Disney Disney restaurant. Probably the number 1 would be La Cellier.
Yeah, they got a, well, it's been a while since we've been there.
Yep, it has.
Wow, that's like 2013 or something.
Yep.
So my entree, what I'd been looking for since the last time we dined at Palo. So I waited 2.5 years to eat this dish again, okay? We liked this dish so much the first time we got it. When we got home from the trip, we tried to replicate it.
It didn't work.
Didn't work.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't
Yeah.
the same. So I had the agnolote. It is a slightly sweet, naturally sweet, butternut squash filled pasta. They're kind of like raviolis. And it is topped with cubes of buffalo mozzarella, amaretti cookies, and it sits in a sage brown butter sauce, broth, whatever you want to call it. So think buttered noodles, but also butternut squash ravioli with a crunch from the amaretti cookies that are sprinkled on top, and a sweetness and an earthiness from the buffalo mozzarella. It's a good dish.
It really is.
It's a good dish.
We got a third entree because I love arancini.
Like, we both love arancini.
Yeah, it's really delicious.
This dish was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it really was. It was a letdown as far as what we were expecting. It was a saffron arancini. It's exactly how you'd expect. It's got the arancini rice with ginger and carrot puree
On the bottom.
On the bottom, and that heirloom tomato salsa kind of drizzled over the top.
It wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah, it wasn't very crispy on the outside. It was kind of it felt like the oil wasn't up to temperature enough that it didn't create the crust that I would expect. Funny enough, we got a red pepper arancini at Triton's a few days at the sit down,
and it was amazing
lunch, and it was.
But we'll tell you about that.
Yeah, it was far better. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It might have been the saffron. We aren't very fancy people, so.
But it also, I mean, it could have had to do with the fact that we ate our other entrees first and ate this second. But it was more the outside. When I get arancini, I expect it to be like super crispy. And this wasn't.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was maybe too much breading. Now, it didn't taste bad.
No.
But it was not my favorite dish of the evening, and I wouldn't order it again.
No, definitely not.
And then dessert. So,
The moment we've been waiting for.
at a normal restaurant, you get the dessert menu after you finish your entree. It's not how it works at Palo. It's pretty much after you've ordered your entree and while you're waiting for it, they bring you the dessert menu. Because their most famous dish is the chocolate souffle, probably followed second by the amaretto souffle. The souffles are baked, and it takes 20 minutes, and then brought right to your table. So you have to order it with enough time for them to bake it and then bring it to you at the perfect time.
Yeah.
So we ordered 2 chocolate souffles.
Yeah. The last time we were there, we got the amaretto souffle and the chocolate souffle, and
They were both good.
Yeah, they were absolutely both good, but the chocolate souffle is just by far the best. Mind you, last time we also had one of the other desserts, but
It was fine, but
yeah,
nothing memorable.
definitely the souffle is what almost everybody comes to. Any chocolate lover will go to Palo for, and that's what they'll order.
Yeah. So think lava cake-esque, but not really. It's got the flavor, but not the ooze.
Yeah.
So warm, fluffy chocolate cake topped with vanilla ice cream, vanilla sauce, and chocolate sauce.
And the coolest part is the tableside presentation of it. It comes to you, and you'll see. Well, I'll throw a couple pictures up in here from when it's served to us, from the time that you're actually able to eat it. Our server broke a little hole in the top of it, and then mixed the chocolate and the vanilla sauce.
A little bit, and then
Yeah.
you can add more.
Yeah,
but-
definitely. Just a little bit, enough to soak in, and then put the vanilla ice cream right on top there and let it sit there for a minute, because it did just come out of the oven, and the ice cream just adds that extra creamy
Starts
layer.
to melt. Yum. And the steam leaving the souffle is the calories disappearing.
Yeah.
We enjoy the souffle so much that we actually made it for dessert for Thanksgiving at home, and using the Disney Cruise Line recipe that's on, I think it's on their website, but it's also on Disney Parks blog. Yes, chocolate.
It wasn't the same again, but it was still pretty darn good.
I think it wasn't on a Disney ship, so it wasn't as good.
That's true. Calories counted, and yeah.
Yes. And then following dessert, we were brought an after dinner kind of parting little drink. It's kind of got a slushy texture, and I can't remember exactly. I know it's apple brandy and I think lemon sorbet again in it.
It's got that lemon sorbet with the apple brandy floated on top of it.
So it's got a slushy kind of texture to it, but it's really good. And if you don't drink, or you can't drink, the time we had dinner before this at Palo, I was pregnant with Bella, so I could not drink it. And you can get a non-alcoholic one, which I think was Sprite and pomegranate juice,
Yeah.
which was also good.
Yeah, it's definitely really good. And it comes in a shot glass.
It's more of a sipping.
Yeah, if you want to shoot it, you can, but it's definitely good as just like a sipper. Again, because it has that lemon sorbet, it cleanses your palate, and it's got the nice little apple brandy flavor
it's
to
good.
it.
Following dinner, we had a little bit of time before the kids were ready to be picked up.
Yeah.
Christian we could have picked up, but Bella we had in the nursery, so it was a time slot, and we wanted to make the most out of our money. And so we had some time, and the captain's welcome reception was still happening in the lobby. Well, it's more like deck 3 and 4. I don't think it went up to 5.
I don't think it went up to 5 because we were up on 4 for a little bit.
Officers are walking around in their fancy white uniforms. You could talk to them, ask them questions. But there are also servers walking around with drinks that are free. There are alcoholic drinks.
There's
Beer and a couple of different mixed drinks.
Yeah, different mixed drinks.
But they also have non-alcoholic drinks, for kids or people who aren't drinking or don't want to drink. So, if you want to take advantage of a free drink, alcoholic or non, because if you get a mocktail, it's still gonna cost you unless you get like a Shirley Temple in the dining room. So, you know, take advantage of the captain's reception. It was on, like, this was day 2. There's 2 different times to, you know, work with each main dining seating.
We caught the tail end of this first seating because they do it after first seating, and they do it before second seating.
Whatever.
I don't remember.
We got a drink, we walked around deck 4 a couple of times, and then got the kids and got ready for bed because the next day we're getting up bright and early for Key West. Yeah. So we will see you next week and tell you all about our adventures in Key West, Florida.
Yep. See you next time.